I was fully prepared to be naked. That's all I'm going to say.
And then I went through and I was like, yeah, no, this all makes sense. This is all kind of the natural extension of where things would go.
When I think of Jesus descending from the air to appear into a temple, I don't imagine him doing it in the Jordan River Temple.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Midnight Mormons. I'm your host, Cardinalus, and today I'm joined in the studio by Kwaku L. and Brad Whitbeck. And we got an impromptu video we're going to do here in which we might need your help. We started arguing, as humble, introspective people do,
with
about
only 3 punches thrown.
Yeah, with only 3 punches thrown, 2 out of 3 from Kwaku towards Brad, about which temple is the best. We all know it's California does it better than anywhere else, but Kwaku and Brad had differing opinions on which temple is best. And we've got measurable quantifiers and aesthetic quantifiers that really settle this science, because it is indeed a science. But we want to know your opinion as to which temple you think is best. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
You'll go first?
Here's my top 3. And I've based them on the beauty. Beauty and size, okay? Because,
size matters. It was low-hanging fruit.
Size does matter.
Oh my God.
So, first, it's like, look, if when I say the temple, I'm very blessed that I don't live in like a flyover state where they had like the 90s Hinckley era temples where they just like mass produce the boxy tan ones. Those are not very pretty.
By the way, we should do top 3 from each of us. Kwaku's number 1.
No, but 3 doesn't matter. Second is the first loser. Top 1.
Top 1. Okay, number 1 best temple.
Yeah.
Only number 1.
That's the name of the podcast.
Top 3.
I guess we can do top 3, but in your top 3, there has to be a top 1.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no.
Okay,
they're numbered.
Okay, do we start with number 1?
I'm starting with 1, then 2, and then 3.
Okay, cool. So hit it, dog.
So do number 1, and then we'll go around.
So that's why I'm starting number 1 with the Oakland, California Temple.
Oakland.
I have amazing memories there. It's not only a beautiful temple. When you take the BART, which is the Bay Area Rapid Transit system that takes you to Daly City.
Banshee sounding.
It's like you get in there. There's like a guy about to go to his bar mitzvah. There's like a homeless dude and there's like a clown. It's like such a great, entertaining.
Okay.
But you get in the BART, and no matter where you're going, if you're going to Daly City, if you're going to Oakland, San Francisco, wherever, you will always see the Oakland, California Temple lit up super bright. It's the highest thing in that whole Bay Area. It's the highest elevated thing is the Oakland, California Temple.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Look at that.
It is absolutely beautiful. You go there. It's massive. There's a giant steak center next to it. And in the steak center, there's this performance hall. And when I was in Divine Comedy, I performed at the Oakland, California a steak center for like a couple hundred people.
Oh, wow.
Really?
And then after we were able to go to the temple, it's just the coolest thing ever. And it's so safe because like Oakland's known for violence, but for some reason, even like the hardest gangbangers don't even try to go through the gate to get into the temple.
Really?
Oh, wow. It's like divine. Like literally, the minute you walk on there, you feel on the temple grounds. You're like, ooh, I feel it. Like this is righteousness.
Really? So you got the whole esoteric experience at the Oakland Temple.
And if you zoom in, they have a built-in like beautiful textured mural of the Christ and the 12 apostles.
Is that what that is?
Oh, that's awesome.
They don't have that kind of artistic into the temples anymore. Dude, honestly, it's the Spencer W. Kimball era temples.
Actually, what's funny
like
is
those style where they're like each temple is a work
the last
of art.
of the great prophets. So no, actually that was Benson, right? Sorry, Kimball was before Benson. I don't remember.
Hey, don't sleep on Howard W. Hunter. He got us BYU Jerusalem.
Oh yeah, and he was a savage too. Howard W. Hunter actually. Down in the valley where he was bishop, the ward was small enough. I think he was branch president. They had to meet in a bar. There wasn't a regular building, and there was like a bar owner where the upstairs room was part of a restaurant that served alcohol or something. So Howard W. Hunter would have to show up early and like sweep out like cigarette butts and like beer bottles and stuff like that so his congregation could meet. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome.
It was pretty
That's
sick.
awesome.
He's a gangster from Arcadia, and that's why the like chapels in Arcadia are like really nice. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he got like
Nice.
he got a little bit of preferential treatment for his boys there. But anyway, so I will put your temple back up on the screen because there's actually 2 stories you just reminded me of that are really intriguing about the Oakland Temple. First, okay, you can see right here the holiness to the Lord. Holiness to the Lord, the house of the Lord. Okay. I've always thought if I were to get a tattoo, that's the tattoo I'd want to have. Just because, you know, people say like, oh, your body's a temple and like, oh, you shouldn't mark it up. Well, the temple did. And it says holiness to the Lord, right? But I would take it one step further. Do you know what Jonathan Browning put on his guns that he made in Nauvoo?
Holiness to the Lord, our preservation.
Yeah, holiness to the Lord, our preservation. Like, so how sick would that be if they're like, oh, did you get a tattoo? And it'd be like, yeah, and you roll up your sleeve, right? It says holiness to the Lord, our preservation. The exact same tattoo that the temple has. And all of a sudden, just like there would be this cognitive dissonance in the priesthood leader, they wouldn't even know what to do. And they'd probably just end up saying that's BA.
Well, can I be honest? My favorite aesthetic of our church is that like 70s aesthetic, like the Mormon miracle pageant look and everything. It's like, it was a really cool aesthetic and everything had a similar theme and it was really beautiful. We don't really have an aesthetic right now. Our aesthetic's a mishmash of whatever the church office building is coming up with at the time. Some of us have really beautifully produced
and
videos.
the temples have gotten much smaller because as we've tried to build more temples in more places and done it on smaller lots, the days of the behemoth temple, like the Los Angeles temple, people don't realize this. The entire 3rd story is a massive assembly hall, and they've stopped building these assembly halls in the temple. But where the prophecies say that the priesthood body has to meet together as a whole, they used to build assembly halls. It's the largest room I've been in, and you throw outside of a stadium, and it's huge. It's from corner to corner, 3rd floor in the temple. Like thousands could meet in there, you know, and when Jesus Christ comes, thousands will have to, right? And he's going to come to his temple first. So in some of these old school behemoth temples, they actually built these things. Now, it hasn't been the most efficient use of resources because Jesus hasn't come yet. And there's enough of these assembly halls built in enough areas that we could make it to them. So they kind of stopped doing that whole thing. But no joke, the cool thing about the Oakland Temple is I think the Oakland Temple's really old. It might have been the first temple built in California. I'm not sure.
It's
old, so it's part of that
perfect.
Old school.
I love the Oakland Temple. I love it. It's beautiful. At night, it's beautiful. It's
I'm going to take
always
a big fat
beautiful.
proverbial dump on your favorite temple because NorCal v SoCal is a real thing.
I know. I'm sorry.
You know
No,
what I'm
it's
saying?
good.
But
I mean,
Look at that. Look at the view.
it's really awesome, but it's just not as amazing as my number 1 temple.
Okay, before you say what your number 1 is, can I finish the cool story of the Oakland Temple?
Yeah.
Okay, we had a huge power outage problem in California because leftist Democrats and secularists who are familiar with the Friends of the Progmos.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying? They those that want to destroy both our nation and our religion, they can't govern effectively. And we still have power outage problems, especially in the summertime when people have to use air conditioning because citizens want to be comfortable and our inept leadership cannot provide power as though we live in a 3rd world failed state. They can't provide enough power to all the citizens when everybody's AC comes on. So it's called a flex alert, right? And anyway, they ask you to turn off your AC and sweat it out and, you know, let your grandma die of a stroke upstairs. But anyway, aside from that, the church is always trying to bend over backwards to be in the good graces of both God and man, to be cooperative with government because we believe in being governed by principalities and kingdoms and leadership and all that other stuff. Are always powering down whenever they can any of their facilities in order to help out with this flex alert. Well, what happened is, I can't remember what decade this was in because the ineptitude of leadership has lasted almost a half century here.
Oh my gosh.
But the Oakland Temple, in accordance with some of these flex and power alerts, actually started powering down all of its immense lights. And as you can see here, it's on this hill that overlooks the valley and the bay. And Oakland is, for those of you that aren't familiar, Oakland is across the street, as Dave Chappelle so eloquently points out in much of his stand-up, is across the bridge from San Francisco. And what happened was literally like within 24 hours, the FAA calls up after they'd powered down all their lights and tried to, just be cooperative with the flex alert, the FAA calls and says, what's happened? Where'd you guys go? What's going on? And they're like, what do you mean what's going on? They're like, we can't see you. And they're like, can't see us. Yeah, well, they said power down. So we're powering down the lights. And they said, can you please turn those on immediately?
Yeah.
We have been using your temple
for the airplane
as an airplane landing beacon.
Oh, that's so cool.
You know what I'm saying? To make it into the international airport. And our pilots that are coming in hot trying to make this left-hand turn.
There's some beautiful symbolism in that.
There's some gorgeous symbolism in there. Like that the house at the top of the hill cannot be hid. And if you have a light, will you put it under a bushel of communism? I mean socialism. I mean progressive Mormonism. I mean leftist secularism. You will not, you will let your light so shine. Gosh. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, the Oakland Temple was like one of the biggest object lessons.
You know what?
Of history.
I probably would have pissed way less people off in my life if I went to the Oakland Temple once a week.
Yeah.
I'd be the most beloved LDS influencer out there. I'd just be so happy all the time. I wouldn't argue or debate. It's like, the Oakland Temple. It's great.
Oh, it's pathetic. My roommates in college could tell when I hadn't read the scriptures in the morning. Because I get more crass and that idea of the daily dose of the Spirit is straight up real. Because if I started talking certain ways, my buddies would be like, you didn't read your scriptures this morning, did you? I'd be like, dang it, stupid.
Yeah. It's like the exact opposite of someone being addicted to coffee. It's like, it's like, I need my scriptures in the morning so I don't end up a jerk.
After that, LA Temple and then Salt Lake.
Okay, that was much better. Your second choice is a lot better. And I guess you have to throw it to Salt Lake, even though she is not the first.
No.
You got to give the iconography.
And people sleep on the Manti Temple, but it really is something to see.
It is really awesome.
Okay, so Brad,
that's another behemoth temple, just in the middle of San Pete County in Manti, with 15 people live there,
dude. And the thing that I totally love about the Manti Temple. Since we all agreed not to talk about this before we started this podcast, I'm having to look up all of these images on the fly so that everybody can see them. But the thing that I absolutely love about the Manti Temple is, I don't know how that picture got on there. That's funny. For some reason, the first thing I thought of when I saw pictures of the Manti Temple, and I'm going to try and get one of the more aerial photos here, if I can find it is a 100% cannot be slept on strategic temple. All right. Look at this thing sitting on top of the hill. When zombies straight attack and the Gadianton robbers are incoming, where do you want to be? You want to be on this temple right here. Look at this thing. It straight up overlooks the entire valley. And if you're on the roof of that thing with a 50 cal and the zombies are trying to storm the hill, you are about as straight up protected as it gets. It's got literally a brick wall and embankment behind it.
It does look like a castle,
Yeah, dude.
Well, the rooftop Koreans. These are we're the temple top Mormons. You know what I'm saying? Ready to fight. Ready to fight.
Oh my god.
What would our bandanas be? You know how the rooftop Koreans, they had their cool bandanas?
I'd have something that says liberty or death, but written in the Deseret alphabet.
Really?
Oh dang.
Or no, I would have F around and find out in the Deseret alphabet written right there.
Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar with who the rooftop Koreans are, during the 1992
That's so cool.
1992 riots in Los Angeles.
Look at that dorky guy with the glasses holding
this is
like
the
a
meme.
BA.
This meme right here, this meme is the one that people are most familiar with, I believe, where you see the rooftop Koreans on the roof and they're overlooking. They had to defend because the police had left the city for a week because the riots had gotten so bad, but the Koreans were defending a lot of their stores literally with just what they had. And there was a Korean named John Park who was outfitting many of these South Korean military guys with weaponry in order to defend themselves. So yeah, the rooftop Koreans kind of became a meme that people use to joke about, persecuted minority groups and so on and so forth. So anyway, okay, cool. So if you're a temple top Mormon, you got to have a bandana, just like the roof Koreans had a bandana to identify
I'm gonna have my
themselves.
So Delicious here and my AR here.
No, but the bandana's got to have like a title of liberty, some sort of thing there, right?
Dude, yeah, that's legit, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Sweet.
absolutely the way
Sick.
to go, man.
I know I shouldn't be looking forward to like the end of the world and like the riots and the battles, but I think because like all of our ancestors, we have this ancestral DNA. Like we're related to people that were mammoth hunters and sages and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a part of us that's just really excited for it because it's the peak masculinity coming out of thousands of years that have created us, and so it's like I am ready.
Okay, cool.
I'm
So
ready.
Brad, you gotta illuminate us with your list, my man.
Okay, so my number one temple, just the one that I think is the most beautiful, like peak of our architectural design, San Diego Temple.
Oh,
Dude, the San Diego Temple is incredible.
You're a San Diego Temple guy.
Dude, I love the San Diego Temple. It's so awesome.
Wait, what?
Okay, I recognize that it is a beautiful piece of architecture,
Yeah.
Okay.
but it's too Disney for my taste, for my top three.
Oh, really?
to Disney? Wait, how is this too Disney for you?
It just is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because Disney is also littered with the seal of Melchizedek, you know, and
Yeah.
No, it's like it looks like
amazing
it looks like
symbolism.
it's from Frozen, like the ice castle.
no, the frozen ice castle looks like it's trying to be this.
Also,
dude, that's
I
a
feel
pretty
like
dang good looking
This
temple,
is an
bro.
amazing temple. It's
okay,
so
I recognize
beautiful.
it's impressive. Like if I want to impress people and I bring them to which temple, I could bring them to this and be like, "Whoa, Mormons got Riz."
No.
But yeah, I still like I'm an Oakland guy.
But this one is amazing because it's like on top of being really, really cool looking. Can you get an overhead view?
Yeah, here's an overhead view, and it's pretty crazy.
So, guys, it's amazing. The celestial room in this place has like a balcony going upward, and you can like see this atrium. Do you see that in the center there?
Oh wow!
There's
look
this
at that.
atrium with like plants in there and everything, and like you can see this like little outdoor area. From
I've
the
never actually
celestial room.
been to the San Diego Temple, and I'm a Californian. I've driven past it a million times because that's actually the 405, like one of the busiest freeways in the freaking world, right there in the right. So I've driven past it a million times, but I've never gone inside.
Yeah. So, dude, it is amazing, and look at that overlapping square sort of architectural design. It's so awesome. It's
Does
so
it help
good.
pilots land their flights into the international airport?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it just saves souls.
You know,
It's amazing, dude. And
Oakland.
I just love the spires on it, and I love the way that they all.
It is
like,
beautiful.
The angles on it are so perfect.
well, you know what's
there's
interesting?
such a cool aesthetic.
Yeah, so you know what's kind of interesting about this temple?
See that
right?
balcony there? Go back one.
Yeah, I think that's the celestial room, Doug.
Yeah, in the celestial room, they've got like a balcony that you walk up.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That is
Freaking
way
sweet.
cool. So the thing that I like about the San Diego Temple, and we're going to switch this so people can see just slightly a little bit better how it's like literally right next to the freeway. That's the 405 right there on the left. You know, is there's two really funny apocryphal stories that we actually, they're not apocryphal. We know they're true because we've heard it from leadership here. But there was a big, not a land dispute, but right next to the San Diego Temple, you can't quite see it here, but behind it, there's a big parking structure. And there was kind of like this big worry. There was like a strip mall there or some kind of commercial property or something. And they were worried about the overflow of people, and they started making complaints. There kind of was this like zoning law snafu and fight that kind of developed. So the church literally just sent a guy down with a checkbook and told the owner of the property how much to buy your property. And they just purchased the commercial lot next to it. And I think they leveled whatever was there. Or they put whatever was there. I mean, please, some San Diegan that knows the magnitude and the details better of the story. All I know is that they straight up purchased the lot.
That's so cool.
Next to it, and then they just completely eliminated the problem by mafioso buying it out. They just had to sit down with the guy, and they're like, "Hey,
awesome.
yeah. So listen, look, I'm just gonna buy you out because, like, you know, parking. I understand it's an issue. You know what I'm saying?
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool,
Dude.
That, and here's the second apocryphal story. Notice that all of these temples you guys say are beautiful, they're all in one state. because we do it right, California.
I've openly said I'm very, very open to the Book of Mormon taking place in California, and California
the Baja
itself
California model's
being
cool.
like a sacred land. I'm way open to that.
Oh, wow. I'm digging. Okay.
Which is also why Satan would want to take this place down first.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Beginning with this studio and Midnight Mormons.
Because there's
Obviously,
Have
yeah.
you ever looked? When we take a
what?
break, I'm gonna have you guys watch a video all about California and the lost lands of California and the lost tribes that existed here that have been wiped out of history books but were once present in history books.
Oh,
and how I haven't talked. I got one later.
Even
we got a
Temple's hearing
podcast.
conspiracies. Okay.
But I want to say, before we move on from this one,
Yeah.
just look at how gorgeously geometric that is. Like,
Yeah.
I love the angles on this temple. I think it's amazing. I wish we had more that looked this way, because if we were to pick one aesthetic that we'd like stick to,
Yeah.
I would want it to be more like this,
Okay.
because it's
okay.
awesome. It's so cool.
Well, what's interesting about this one, and of course maybe the Exmo hate watchers are gonna like this. Do you know the San Diego Temple is one of the only temples designed by a non-member?
Really?
Yeah, the San Diego Temple was designed by an architectural firm that I think there was a couple members that might have worked for it or something, but it was a non-member, I believe, that was hired to do it. And I think they wanted to kind of see what he'd come up with. And so he studied a lot of studied the doctrine, studied Christianity, studied a lot of like cathedrals and things like that. And so the reason why it has a little bit more of a Gothic and a classic look to it, from what I understand, and again, please, if you're from San Diego, let me know if I stray incorrectly here, but I do believe, if memory serves me correctly, that the San Diego Temple was actually designed by a non-member. And kind of crazy. The church always hires locals, and tries to hire members as much as possible in the construction thereof, but I believe the architecture was designed by a non-member. Brad.
So something interesting about this one too.
Yeah.
Something cool is that seal of Melchizedek symbol that shows up all throughout it.
Okay.
They literally, during the design process, they were trying to decide how to make it look distinct, how to make it look unique, how to make it look really beautiful and amazing. And after like just pondering on it and taking a lot of time to like sort out what would be right and experimenting with different shapes and looks, that's what they landed on. And even general authorities from the time period when they actually made this, when people are like, oh, what's the meaning behind this symbol? They're like, it just looked good.
No.
They're like, there's like no, like we didn't think it had anything to do with anything, right?
So they found out after it was the seal of Melchizedek.
Yeah, they found out later that it's the seal of Melchizedek. It's on like these ancient temples in like the mosaics on their floors and stuff. Yeah. And it's all over the place. And like the number 8 is associated with like this renewal and perfection, because 7 itself is numerologically it's a perfected number, right?
Yeah, it's complete and it's a prime number. Yeah. Okay.
So 8 is a new beginning. Right?
Oh, get out of town.
Yeah, and so like this 8-pointed star is like there for this new beginning, like with this the way that the temple functions to like give everyone in their next life this new beginning, right?
Wow.
It's a really amazing symbolism, and this 8-pointed star is often associated with Christ because it's also associated with the sun, right?
Okay.
And like with the sun being the sun in the sky, but also the Son of God. Like there's some really awesome symbolism deep into this seal of Melchizedek that they weren't even intending to put in. And it's really cool.
You see,
okay.
I will say this about the San Diego. Honestly, this is how I feel most of the California temples.
Okay.
When I think of Jesus descending from the air to appear into a temple, I don't imagine him doing it in the Jordan River Temple. Does that make sense? I don't imagine it in Mount Timpanogos.
Okay.
I imagine it though in San Diego or Oakland or Los Angeles, the California temples that just have that, like real, like that Spencer W. Kimball, that Benson era beauty, where back when the prophets were really basically just punching members in the face, listen to me, you communist porn addicts, you better you want to keep this going, or how about I excommunicate you from this life? But you know what? It worked, and even got beauty.
So
we had
here's
beauty.
Here's the thing: the San Diego temple, built in '93.
Oh wow, I was wrong. I stand corrected.
But like, it's also the only temple completed.
So is that Hinckley or Hunter?
Well, it probably also took 15 years to get through the permit process here.
Yeah. But yeah, so the San Diego temple, that's the year of my birth.
Oh.
Only temple made then. And so I'm like psyched
Warm
about
fuzzies.
that one too.
Planned in 1973, completed in 1993.
Okay, 1973. So it kind of still fits with who was prophet during 73.
Yeah, it's in line. Now,
Well, so what's your second and third, dog?
so number 2, like by a really, really close margin,
Okay.
is the Salt Lake Temple.
Oh,
It's just too
okay.
classic,
Say-
too awesome.
1973 was when Spencer W. Kimball was prophet. Sorry, keep going.
Oh, nice.
Well, I don't know if that's when it was planned. I was actually just speaking
Ah,
hyperbolically.
dang it.
Yeah, because of the permit processes in California. It's probably true. But yeah, so the Salt Lake Temple, it's
Okay.
just too iconic. It's where I got endowed. It's where I got married.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's an amazing place. It's the temple that was my area temple when I was going through to get my endowments.
Oh, really?
So-
Because you lived, not the Provo Temple?
No, I turned 18 in Salt
Oh,
Lake.
yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
because you're like a fake Canadian. You're like one of those Canadians that says you're Canadian in order to avoid political arguments, but you've been in the United States for most of your life. So,
Can I run for president?
yeah,
You
well,
can't.
So I'm still a second-class citizen, aren't I? I'll claim my Canadian freaking citizenship. And do you know what?
what?
When I was in kindergarten, I had a very traumatic experience. Everyone was going around telling what they wanted to be when they grew up, right? They had everyone sitting around because my last name's Whitbeck. I was at the very end of the line. They're like, what does everyone want to be when they grow up? And they're going around, everyone's saying what they want to be. Several girls have said they want to be princesses. All the cool jobs have already been taken where we've got like firefighter, astronaut, all of that's out of the way.
Okay.
They get to me and I'm like, what else is even left? And I was like, you know what? I think it'd be really cool to be president. That's what I would want to be when I grow up.
Yeah.
And the entire theme of the lesson so far has been you can be whatever you want. They get to me, I say I want to be president. They're like, oh,
Sorry, you
Brad.
maple jockey.
They literally were like, sorry, Brad, you can't be president. And I'm like, 5-year-old me is sitting here like, what the heck? Like, I immigrated to this country. I love this place. Like, why can't I be president? I like stopped putting my hand over my heart for the Pledge of Allegiance. I would put it over my heart, but I would like not hold it on my chest because
Welcome to
I
the
was
club.
mad. I was like, for like,
Welcome to the club, Brad.
Oh, please.
but I was just ticked about it for like probably the next 2 years.
That is sad.
Look, if you think I'm going to be pledging to Klaus Schwab anytime soon, he's really running our country at this point.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so what's your third, dog?
But yeah, I mean, to wrap that minor story up, I love America. I think it's amazing. It was just very traumatic for me.
I feel
and
you.
I became very patriotic later.
Okay, good.
So yeah, number 2 is the Salt Lake Temple for the above reasons.
Yeah, what's number 3, man?
One other thing about the Salt Lake Temple.
Yeah, hit it.
They did the live endowments,
Oh, that's
which
true.
was awesome.
That's pretty gangsta.
Even though it was like old people, it was still really cool.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know, there was something about it that like made it almost more unique to study it and try to understand what was going on.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
really, really cool.
I feel you. I feel you.
But then number 3 is the Alberta Temple.
Alberta. I don't
Yeah.
even know what that looks like, dog.
Yeah, dude, pull it up.
Yeah, because there's still actually some of the Canadians, like President Monson did a lot in Canada for the church, didn't he?
Yeah.
Alberta, Canada Temple. Wow,
man.
let's like pull this thing up.
The
and let's
Alberta
see.
Temple is awesome. It is not well known enough. I mean, there are 2 others that are very similar to it. The Meridian, Idaho Temple is pretty
Oh,
close.
yeah, that looks just like Meridian.
Yeah, and then the Hawaii Temple.
Oh, I was about to say this looks totally just like the Hawaii.
it also kind
Temple.
of looks
I mean,
like Gilbert.
Is Gilbert, Arizona
Wait,
this
either
style
Gilbert
too?
or Mesa.
Yeah. So
yeah, take a look at this, man. This thing's a beast, dude.
So I've
Actually.
never been inside of any of those other ones, but I love the symbolism in this temple so much.
Really?
There's so much cool stuff inside of this temple. It's amazing.
All
and,
right.
And it's to this,
Like what?
okay, there's like this Valknut sort of symbol. Do
Did you say
guys know what that-
Vecna, like Stranger
No,
Things?
Valknut. Do you guys know what that is?
I'm not a German.
What's a
You don't
Valknut?
have to be German. It's like 3 triangles connected together in like
How do you
this
spell that? I'm gonna look that one up too. That's pretty cool.
Valknut.
Valknut.
Yeah. There's like this Valknut symbol inside of this temple.
Oh my
in, like,
gosh!
the
It
carving.
says Valknut meaning. Okay, the Valknut is a symbol
Is that a Viking
consisting
symbol?
A Germanic
interesting.
Viking.
It's a symbol that is consisting of 3 interlocked triangles. It appears in a variety of objects from the archaeological record of the ancient Germanic peoples. The term Valkna is a modern development. It is not known what the terms were used to refer to this symbol historically. But oh yeah, there it is. Look at the iconography right there. Okay.
Yeah. And it's got this really, really cool like vibe to it that's like symbolizes eternity, and this like 3-3-3 pulled together in this really cool way that I think is just I don't see it in any of the other temples, and so it's really awesome.
Yeah, look at that right there. That is pretty cool. I don't really recognize that. That's
so
pretty sick.
the one on the top left is mostly what it looks like.
Okay.
For the ones carved into the wood. And there's tons of wood inside of the Alberta temple that's really, really cool looking.
Wow. Okay.
And it's one of the few temples without an angel Moroni on top.
Oh, true that.
Yeah, and I don't think that necessarily makes it cooler, but it just looks so
Your guys'
awesome and
list
iconic.
is so superficial and not deep like mine is. And I got to tell you, like, my list is going to blow your mind.
Okay.
And be so much cooler than your list.
Hit us with your list.
Okay, so are you done? Kwaku, you're done. You gave your top 3.
Yeah.
Brad, you gave your top 3.
Yep.
Okay. Well, first off, I'm going to cheat a little bit and say it's difficult to say top 3 for me. There's a top 1, but it's actually top 4 for me. And I'm very justified in this selection.
Okay.
First and foremost, let's see if we can put this up. It's going to be a lot easier to get this picture.
It's the San Diego temple.
No, it's not the San Diego Temple. San Diego Temple is the little redheaded stepchild of this bad boy right here.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying? First and foremost, and no, it's not just because of, some kind of sentimental reason or anything like that, but the biggest, baddest, and best temple in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, full stop, without any kind of reservation or whatever, is this temple right here. None other than it's actually getting really difficult for me to even put the entire thing in one picture, the Los Angeles Temple.
Nice.
Best part of Santa Monica.
The best part of Santa Monica. It's on Santa Monica Boulevard. But here's the reason why. Okay. There's some very specific reasons. Mm-hmm. Okay. First off, much like you say, Kwaku, when you envision the Lord coming back to his temple. Sorry, there's no great assembly hall, and not everybody can meet in the Salt Lake Temple. Sorry, just not gonna happen.
Are you sure about that?
In the Salt Lake Temple?
No, dude, no. We have way too much priesthood. We have way too much priesthood, and the square footage of the LA Temple for years, it was the largest until all of the Salt Lake City church office bureaucrats got a little bit, pissy about it and got a little bit jealous. So they connected and built that foyer in the Salt Lake Temple that's kind of the visitory section of it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like 5 square feet larger. So technically now the largest temple is the rebuilt Salt Lake Temple, but for like 50 years, from like 1945 to like 1995 or whenever they completed that part of the temple in Temple Square, the Los Angeles Temple was the biggest, it's the baddest, it's the largest facilities, underground temples, and the angel Moroni is straight up Mayan.
Yeah, and
he's like,
that's awesome. Doesn't he have like a different like thing? He's like holding the scriptures in this.
Yeah,
one, right?
yeah. Let me see if I can look that up. Anyway,
now, as you're looking that up,
okay,
the Salt Lake Temple absolutely has a massive assembly hall in it. That's like the whole.
Yeah, but it's not as big
floor.
as ours.
Yeah. But you said it didn't have one.
My hall is bigger than yours.
Oh, sorry. No, I apologize. No, all of the old temples did, like I said earlier in the podcast.
Yeah.
What I meant to say is like, can't hold a candle to it, dude. Like, it's like, yeah, your car has an engine too. But if I'm driving a freaking Ferrari and you're driving a Camry, one's cooler than the other, all right, dog?
Isn't there like a 7-Eleven across the street from the LA Temple?
There's some questionable billboards. But no, actually, speaking of which, across the street, what's kind of cool, and I brought this in and I almost forgot to use it, I have the only picture taken by a guy that used to be my stake president. He's an award-winning photographer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I used to do like huge accounts like Honda and a bunch of others like that. But there's no pictures. You'll notice if you actually just go to an image search, There's no just purely from the front pictures of the Los Angeles Temple. Of course, now my internet's going slow. There's no just from the front pictures of the Los Angeles Temple, because the Los Angeles Temple, being so large, can only be taken from a 3/4 view. If you look at all of these pictures, it can only really be taken from a 3/4 view.
Otherwise, you miss parts of it.
Yeah, otherwise you miss parts of it. However,
so
there was
literally basing your entire decision on which
on
temple
size.
is biggest.
No, there's more here.
For some reason, you being the 6'7" giant that you are, this makes perfect sense. It's
I
the
fit
only one
through
you
the
fit
front
in.
door.
Yeah.
Okay. And the front doors are massive. But anyway, there was construction going on across the street that hadn't been done in like 100 years or something like that. And so as a photographer, he was able to crawl to a roof that is actually centered right across. And it's the only purely perpendicular picture of the temple that exists. And I got it. And that's where me and Brittany got married. But my second choice is pretty ill. You know what my favorite temple is?
What?
Outside of the LA temple? The Jerusalem temple.
You mean BYU Jerusalem?
The Jerusalem temple.
Because it can be converted to a temple any moment.
I'll take it. That is awesome.
Yeah. The BYU Jerusalem
that is
Center
cheating, but awesome.
Can be converted into a functional temple within 24 hours. So
because that's how much warning we'll have.
Dude, when that plane ticket gets purchased, like, do you remember that movie Angels and Demons where the guy came out
Great movie, yeah.
Yeah, where the guy came out of the bank that had the not the PO box, but the rental box. He says, I've been watching that for years to see who would come and open it, because he knew that would have whatever the connection is to, maybe it wasn't Angels and Demons, it was the Da Vinci Code. Yeah, the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
Like, I would be watching the church transportation department to see when they purchase the ticket for, like, you know, David A. Bednar to go to freaking Jerusalem. And just like there's people that watch like Nancy Pelosi and all of her stock trades and stuff, I would be seeing when these presidents are going to freaking Jerusalem, because you know when they get the go ahead to go to the BYU Jerusalem Center, you know what I'm saying? And they dedicate that thing, that it is on like Donkey Kong for like the apocalypse and stuff like that, right?
Uh-huh.
So anyway, the BYU Jerusalem Center is actually pretty cool. And I think it's got a pretty hip look. Like, this is kind of an old school picture from way back in the day, but the BYU Jerusalem Center is kind of
that's really cool.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that would be pretty sick. And then finally, tied for third are two temples that neither one of you guys mentioned. How can you sleep on Kirtland?
Because it's
Kirtland Temple. It's now owned by a different church.
It's not ours.
You know what I'm saying? But come on, that's where all of those restoration things were happening. And
that's awesome.
It was in the top 10 list of North American architectural structures. Still is. Yeah. It's considered.
Really?
So you let secularist lists decide what you think is awesome.
Exactly. And people sleep on it, but I think the St. George Temple is beautiful. And it was the first one completed outside of Nauvoo and Nauvoo.
Historically, it was the next one in operation.
Yeah, it was the first one with the full endowment.
That's where I got endowed.
St. George?
St. George Temple, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wait, why were you in St. George?
So I wanted to have like a cool experience. So the day before I hiked Angel's Landing, I got to the top to give myself my own like Moses Abraham moment. You know what I mean? And then the next day I got endowed. Yeah.
Hey, well, speaking of which, we should go back to the old way they said endowed. Instead of saying, oh, that's when I got endowed. In the old days, you know what Joseph Smith and the Nauvoo Saints called it? The endowment of power.
Nice.
That is so much more based,
cool.
right?
That really is.
If you're like, yeah, that's when I got endowed with God's power. I think we would all behave a little bit better and take the priesthood more seriously.
Now we say, I took out my endowments, whatever that even means.
Like it's a freaking library.
It is kind of weird. Like, where did that come from? Where did that terminology?
Utahns being isolated for 100 years and developing our own bizarre vernacular.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I'm going to start saying I got my endowment of power from the.
I got my endowment of power.
You're going to sound like the self-righteous guy in the ward. I got my endowment of power. And
that's not self-righteous. That's esoteric. That's strong. That's the Norse. Yes.
You know what's crazy though? People talk about how the temple. They're like, "Oh, it was so traumatic for me. Well, it was still weird." I was hoping it'd be weirder when I went through. I was legitimately a little disappointed that I didn't see, like, I was expecting.
They need to truncate that cheese. I hate to say it, but they need to truncate it.
No, dude,
It's
Really?
awesome. Yeah.
This sounds weird, might be blasphemous. I'd be cool if there was 2 different versions, like the longer and the shorter version. And I was fully prepared to be naked. That's all I'm gonna say. I was. No, I'm kidding. That's not true. That's not true. No, I would not have liked that. But no, I was expecting, like, I thought something cool. Like at one point, I could like hold up a sword or something, you know, and do like I was expecting really esoteric, deep. But you know.
So do you want to know something funny? You know how, like we're saying, there are people who were like, it wasn't even the church I was raised in. Like literally, I don't know if people who say that kind of thing have really like read the Old Testament, because I don't know.
Yeah.
When I'd read the Old Testament and everything, I had not done a temple prep course at all. Okay. And I went through to my stake president, who I fortunately knew well enough to, like, when he was signing my temple recommend, he was like, okay, did you do a temple prep course? I was like, no. He's like, how about you just think about the song I Am a Child of God as you're going through? I think you'll be good. And I'm like, okay. And so that was my full temple prep course, was think about the song I Am a Child of God. And then I went through and I was like, yeah, no, this all makes sense. This is all kind of the natural extension of where things would go. Like, I don't know that this is like the only way that it could happen, but this is the way that it's happening, and I think it works. It's good.
Yeah, the thing is though, I'm fine with weird stuff.
Yeah.
So
it didn't bug me at all.
All right, so here we are. There's one thing that I totally forgot to do, and that was to show you guys the Moroni from the top of the Los Angeles temple.
Oh, sweet.
Here's a picture of, people don't realize how large they are.
They're massive.
But this is them when they're gilding the Moroni on the Los Angeles
If that
temple.
trumpet falls on you, you're going to die.
Yeah, like actually, you know, you're not kidding. Like, look at that picture. Look at how large that angel Moroni is. And that's like, how many stories up? Like 20 stories high. I mean, that's massive. And people don't realize those are granite slabs.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you
wow.
go in the basement of that thing, it's like a freaking Soviet bunker, dude. I'm not even kidding you. It's
Dude,
gnarly.
that's awesome.
So anyway, if you actually look at the Moroni when they gilded it, it's a freaking behemoth. I mean, look at the size of that.
And he's stacked.
And what's funny is they have to take it down like once every 2 or 3 years to regild it, because so many people shoot at it with like high-powered rifles and BB guns and air guns and
Oh,
stuff
gosh.
like that. You know, they have to like put chunks back in and like regild it and put
They
gold
probably
back on
knew
it.
Canadians would be doing the same too much, and that's why they just got rid of it.
For some reason, this is making me just really appreciate Spencer W. Kimball. Maybe that's because that's the prophet that all the black Mormons like the most. I don't know. But like, because all the black Mormons love Kimball, clearly. I'm just saying, when's the last time you heard a black Mormon just raving about Harold B. Lee? Like, it doesn't happen.
That's funny.
But have you heard the story about when he went to, I want to say France?
Yeah.
And he's meeting some Catholic priest or a priest of some Christian denomination.
Okay, cool.
And he comes in with like 10 of the 12 apostles. And the man's like, so you are the Mormons. And I'm going to butcher the story. He's like, it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And he just plain goes, you know, Christ and his 12 apostles, that's us now. You're looking at him. You're looking at the prophet of God. This is not a church. This is the church. I know the Lord. I've seen him. And all these men have too. And the priest was like, what? And he started like bawling. And he was like, I can't believe this is actually happening. Like Kimball was just hardcore.
Savage.
He was a
That is
major
amazing.
savage.
Oh, that's so cool.
Dude, that is straight up epic.
Have you also heard the story about how
Yeah, finish this up, dog. This is
we probably talked about this on the show before, but I'll end with this. When all the apostles were praying in the celestial room right before the priesthood ban was lifted, one of the apostles saw in the room as they were praying another man in white glowing, looking at them. Wasn't one of the apostles. And they don't think it was Jesus, but he thinks it was Wilford Woodruff.
Really?
And that's because Woodruff got rid of polygamy. And he it would make sense that he would be the one that would appear and maybe like give them some, you know, whatever power.
Some gravitas.
But it's like, I want to witness this one. But yeah, so there's actually people like to pretend like the priesthood thing was like, oh, it was all political. No, there's literal miracles attached to the story. Aside from just the BA African saints who are just like, we're going to build the temple ourselves. Yeah. Like, all right, okay, let's send them there because they just started the church there. But yeah, Kimball era, just beautiful stuff was being created left and right.
Yeah, dude, that is straight up cool. Now, there's only one thing left that I would like to point out to you guys, all of us. Our top temple was where? Oakland, San Diego, Los Angeles. All I can say is the church is truer in California.
And I guess there's no better evidence.
I have loved, when I lived in California, the church absolutely, like, when there's a palm tree outside your chapel as opposed to like the gray cinder block Lehigh apartments.
Yeah. It just does something more to your testimony and your contemplation of the eternities.
And this, I think, is the best evidence that this is where the Book of Mormon happened then.
Yeah.
In California.
And
that must be the
model. Should I come out with a straight up like new Baja California model for the Book of Mormon?
Yeah, you totally should.
Do it.
Now, and the last thing I would say is I'm a little bit disappointed in you, Brad, for not throwing in the Manhattan Temple in there. Manhattan Temple is pretty cool.
The Manhattan Temple is really awesome.
Yeah, it's actually really
the corner library temple.
It's the temple that's
awesome
like got a basketball court on top of it, and it's got like
it's amazing, dude.
We should go buy some old Catholic
cathedral
there that nobody's going in and just homeless people around. Say, all right, renovate it.
Yeah, I got a story for that one later. Anyway, but that's another podcast. This is Midnight Mormons. We'll see you in the next program.